My name is Minh Nguyen. I'm a drummer. I started playing the drums when I was 10. I was trained as a classical percussionist. When I was 16, I fell in love with jazz drums and never looked back. Well, that's a very hard question. I remember I started hand drumming before actually playing the drums. When I was 9, I was hand drumming on everything, on my school desk, on the dinner table at home. I asked my parents to buy me a toy drum set, fell in love with it, decided to keep playing. I would describe my way of teaching as very methodical. I like to take very complex concepts and dissect them into easier bits so that everybody can understand. I like to focus a lot on the way people play more than what they play. So we're gonna be focusing a lot on posture, on grip, on hand technique. Starting from that, we're gonna build up on the technique of the whole body. Well, as far as my experience is concerned, both as a student and as a teacher, I feel that motivation always comes from success. Now, the way I like to teach is by always giving my students small challenges, very achievable tasks that they can work on a weekly basis. When you are able to play something that you weren't able to play the week before, that's a success, and that I feel like can keep the students very motivated. Well, we beginners, since playing the drums requires so much coordination, and coordination not just between our limbs, but also between the brain and the body. I like to focus a lot on the good posture, good hand technique, good grips. How can we effectively move our body to be able to play the drums correctly? The basics are not just about the mechanics of the movement, but they're also about how we play on the whole drum set. So I like since the very beginning to have my students play on the whole drum set and in a musical context. Well, as a performer, I like to try and play as many different genres as possible. So currently I'm playing in many different bands. I'm playing from alternative rock to grunge to blues and jazz. But as a teacher, I think that it's necessary to expose my students to as many different genres as possible. Coordination is about controlling your own body. As drummers, we know we use our whole body to play. That means we use our legs, our feet, our arms, our wrists and hands. And sometimes to be able to control them independently from one another can be very difficult and can be also very frustrating. But as any other skill, coordination, as much as muscle memory and balance, can be trained, and through practice you're gonna be able to do and play things that you thought you would never be capable of. Finding our own style on the instrument is probably the ultimate goal, something that also I keep working on. I think that a very important aspect of finding your own style, your own identity, is to study the greats. And by studying them, you're gonna be able to understand what you like or what you're not so interested in developing, and hence you're gonna find your own voice on the drums. Yeah, since I stepped into this room the first time, I felt the vibe, I felt the energy. I very much resonate with Steffi's objectives as a school manager, and I resonate a lot with the goals of the music school. So I love teaching here because of the environment, because of the colleagues and all the other artists that make this place so special. I would tell them not to ask themselves why, but to ask themselves why not. Well, individual classes are tailored to the needs of a student. Okay, we're gonna work towards those specific goals, in a one-on-one environment. In group classes, of course, you're gonna be doing lessons together with fellow drummers, and these might be extremely helpful, not only because you might be able to meet with drummers that are a higher level than yours, but also to see people either struggling with your own struggles or overcoming them. You might find ways to actually come up with your own solutions.